This year's NBA trade deadline was probably the best that we have seen in many of the last few years. But today we are going to be breaking down the top 3 trades. But starting off right here, we've got an honorable mention, the Chris Middleton for Kyle Kuzma swap. We're not going to be looking at many of the extra moving parts because we're going over the biggest trades. We're obviously going to talk about the biggest players in those trades. And right here was definitely one of them. The Milwaukee Bucks finally move off of Chris Middleton. Himself is a proven vet on the team, NBA champion, who they have tried to be patient with, but the injuries just kept piling up, and him missing NBA playing time was just too big of a deal for that team. They also got to dip below that apron when trading for Kyle Kuzma, who in his own right is a proven third star. He doesn't necessarily have to be a star in his he doesn't have to be a star, but he needs to be a star in his role, which he is capable of doing. We've seen him do it. If you want to count it or not, I do not really care, but this man is an NBA champion with those 2020 Lakers, and he proved that in those playoffs that he can be a third option who can score the ball, which is what the Milwaukee Bucks need desperately, especially when it's a lot easier for the other teams to just try to kind of leave everybody else if they can focus on Giannis and Dame. Now you've got a third star who can actually go ahead and take some of that pressure off of those other two guys. This is going to be the honorable mention of those trades. Next is going to actually be the Zach LaVine, De'Aaron Fox trade. Now, obviously, this trade was not 1-for-1. The Bulls were involved here. They got some draft capital back, but the Sacramento Kings land Zach LaVine, and the San Antonio Spurs land De'Aaron Fox. It was reported before these trades even came out that De'Aaron Fox was unhappy and had, I cannot remember if he officially requested a trade or if it was just something where he was kind of pushing for a trade, but De'Aaron Fox is on the move. His preferred destination was always noted as being the San Antonio Spurs, and to be quite honest, I cannot really blame him. If I had the opportunity to team up with Wemby as a point guard, Wemby is going to make De'Aaron Fox a lot of money. Obviously, he has earned it and has been a proven player in the league, but Wemby is going to make him so much more money, especially with how good he is, and can help him realize that goal of an NBA player in winning championships. And then Zach LaVine here moved to Sacramento. It seems like Sacramento is just trying to salvage as much as they can of their season. Earlier in the season, firing Mike Brown, moving on to Doug Christie, who, in his own right has not done a terrible job, but now they get another player back in Zach LaVine, who this year has managed to stay somewhat healthy, and I hope that continues. Never want to see somebody injured, but it seems like the team is then just moving forward, unless he himself were to request a trade, going to build that core around Zach LaVine and Domas Sabonis. So, interesting deal for the Sacramento Kings here. They did get a lot of picks back in this, but how legit those first round picks are going to be, it remains to be seen with the protections on them. So right here at the number 3 spot is going to be De'Aaron Fox to the San Antonio Spurs, Zach LaVine to the Sacramento Kings. Now next, we've got this trade. This trade just happened yesterday on trade deadline day. Jimmy Butler getting moved to the Golden State Warriors for, who is not pictured here, Andrew Wiggins and other assets. Jimmy Butler, it was noted very, very heavily, and you guys have seen throughout the season, unless you've been living under a rock, that this guy has been suspended multiple times by the Miami Heat for different behavioral issues, all due to originally stemming back to when he asked out and wanted a trade from the Miami Heat. So he now was granted his wish, but like I said, the Golden State Warriors, they ended up having to trade Wiggins and other assets to get and land Jimmy Butler. Their original goal was going to be Kevin Durant, and then the next goal was Jimmy Butler if they could not land him. So this is where they have landed at. And Jimmy Butler, when he did get traded, he signed a extension, $111 million extension that ties him to the team until at least the end of the 26 to 27 season. So he's going to be there at least for a little bit, and the Golden State Warriors in their own right are trying to just salvage what they have in this season so far and try to bring in a player that takes a ton of pressure off of Steph Curry and can move the ball with the ball in his hands and not have to try to play off of Steph Curry and make that team so Steph Curry centric, because I mean he is an aging superstar now. Don't get me wrong, he's still one of the best players in the league, but he's gonna obviously need some help there, and without having Clay there or another shooter there to really space the floor, somebody to take that kind of offensive burden off of him, which you will be getting in Jimmy Butler, is definitely a big deal. So Jimmy Butler traded to the Golden State Warriors for Andrew Wiggins and other assets is going to be coming in at the number 2 spot. And I mean, it's really quite obvious what the number 1 trade of the NBA trade deadline is. And this is going to be Anthony Davis and Max Christie and a first round pick, whatever, yada, 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 getting traded to the Dallas Mavericks for Luka Doncic. Now, obviously, they got back also Maxi Kleber and they got back Markieff Morris, but we already established that we're talking about the big star players here. And Anthony Davis and Luka Doncic, I don't know how a trade could get more box office. I mean, genuinely, the only way that I legitimately do think any trade could be bigger than this is if you're getting players that are now within that top 5 echelon of each. I would say Luka is there, but obviously Anthony Davis in his own right is an amazing player, but maybe around the top 15, top 20 range. And unless I'm just way too biased, and I'm not even biased, but unless I just don't know ball, I would say, I mean, maybe at the highest top 10, lowest top 20. But I mean, these guys are both bona fide stars, Luka being more so, but it definitely helps the Mavericks in the short term. Their goal is to just win now, and they believe they can do that with Kyrie Irving as the main ball handler there, and then having and adding Anthony Davis to defensively anchor that team. They believe that will work. He also gets to move to the 4, which is something he has requested to be able to do with the Lakers for a very, very, very long time, but has not been able to. Now he gets to do that with the Mavericks being able to have Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively still on their roster. And then the Lakers get Luka Doncic, their succession plan for LeBron James. But that was the original thought, is okay, the Lakers are kind of just going to punt on this season, keep their draft pick they have, maybe reevaluate in the offseason, maybe even trade LeBron. But now that the trade deadline has passed and we've had a full 24 hours to digest everything, the Lakers ended up making another trade for Mark Williams, the center from Charlotte, a young center. They traded away Dalton Connect just to get him back and that first round pick. But now they get a big that, I mean, Luka Doncic love. Now I kind of feel bad for Anthony Davis. All he's asked for is to play with a center. And I mean, it seemingly could have just traded Dalton Connect and that first round pick still to get that center to pair along with side Anthony Davis to move him to the 4, but that did not come to fruition. So we have got Luka Doncic in a Lakers uniform, which is going to be box office. Can't wait to see. The original goal was for him to play on Saturday, but it looks like he is not going to be playing until Monday, which is unfortunate. But hey, Monday is going to be a great day to watch NBA basketball, right? So that is going to be the biggest trade in the NBA so far this season, or at the NBA trade deadline. I don't really think that there could be any argument with that, but if you guys do have any, let me know down in the comment section below. I'll be sure to definitely go back and forth with you guys, because I will, honestly, I might tell you guys the debate wall if you disagree, but I will be down there definitely for sure. Hope you guys did enjoy. That's all for Ryan Dynamic, y'all. I'm out. Peace.